Portugal 2-0 up at half-time, Serbia getting back to 2-2. But the big talking point, Craig, was that late effort from Cristiano Ronaldo and doubts whether or not it did cross the line. It wasn't given as a goal. Ronaldo furious.
Yeah, Serbia had just gone down to 10 men with the big centre-half had just been sent off, but that really was neither here nor there. I think there was like a minute left in the extra time, as you said. Long diagonal ball over the top of the defender. The angle was narrow. Keeper made a really poor decision to come out, misjudged it, and Ronaldo from a really narrow angle, as I said, took it first time, and it looked like the ball was trundling over the line. One of the Serbian defenders got back to hook it back. Now, it did, on the face of it, look over. I've just seen a couple of stills on Twitter, and when is Twitter ever wrong? I mean, but I've just seen, unless the angles are wrong from the pictures, it looked as if the whole ball was probably over. Of course, if we've got goal line technology, it'll take it down to millimetres. If there's a bit of the ball hovering over the line, it will not be given. But it did look as if it just managed to meander over. But of course, we don't have this technology, and we're talking about World Cup qualifiers here, and the technology's been around for a good couple of years now, at least, and to not have it in the qualifiers, albeit when you put up an argument, well, we can't have it in Gibraltar or San Marino or wherever. I'm sorry, that just doesn't cut it, because it's too important. It's too important to go to a World Cup or not. That being said, Portugal had the game down in their hands. I mean, they really did. They're a really attacking side with Fernandes behind Ronaldo, with Bernardo Silva on the right, and Diego Jota fit again on the left. Diego Jota, who seems to have an amazing knack of ghosting into the penalty area for one so small, and still managed to find enough space. So it was a really attacking Portuguese side that was controlling the game for long periods until the second half. And then they pretty much just imploded as Serbia got on the front foot and started to ask some more questions. So in the end, I mean, Fernando Santos was making defensive substitutions during this second half. Not until the end, when he brought on João Felix and somebody else, were they looking to win the game. They were bringing on Renato Sanchez, they were bringing on left backs. And so the tide really turned in this game, and it was a big surprise, because I thought Portugal really had Serbia where they wanted them, but it turned out they couldn't see this game out.
Yeah, and let's go back to that decision, shall we, for FIFA not to have VAR at these games. Today, a great example of why it's embarrassing, isn't it?
Yeah, not only embarrassing, is just think what a politics is all behind. This week or last week, there were all the numbers of FIFA, and you saw how the wages of Infantino, maybe you can take some of them, and San Marino and Gibraltar would have at least goal line technology. And I think that maybe VAR is too much with all the cameras all around the world. With goal line technology, I can do that with my iPhone. And I can understand Cristiano Ronaldo is furious about that, because that ball was definitely over the line. And I think for FIFA saying this is the best and the biggest tournament of the world, well, please, at least goal line technology. That is so 2014, isn't it?
It is. And what's weird is that, look, if VAR's there, then surely you can just use it for pretty much all the games. If you can't use it at some, I understand that because of technical reasons, but it's like you don't have the same standard of refereeing throughout the whole tournament. Some are good, some are bad. If you can use VAR, then why don't you use it?
Well, Dan, it's like everything else. You know, they're trying to make it out as though this is the greatest tournament on the planet. But guess what? If we can cut some corners and maybe save some money, then that'll go towards another trip for the boys. I mean, that's all it is about. The excuse that, well, we need to make this equal for everybody. So if Gibraltar don't have it, then while we're doing the qualifier, then nobody will have it. I mean, it's just, it's cutting corners at the very worst. That's all it is. Saving money. And listen, at the end of the day, this could cost Portugal a spot in the World Cup. That's how important it is.
You know, at the end of the day, Dan, the chances of something happening in a game at Gibraltar or San Marino are slim. I know we saw Ireland losing at home to Luxembourg, but Ireland are atrocious. I mean, let's be frank. And so the chances of anything being close to scandalous at these games is in the main pretty slim, because these teams are getting turned over. So you really should be having it when you're sitting at the big table to go to the elite competition in the sport that we cover, which every player wants to go and play at.
Yes.
That being said, though, you know, up until that point, really, and the other side of this is Ronaldo was extremely poor in this game. He had that chance at the end, and I think that could be his frustration as well. The other side of the coin for Portugal is in these big games, and it was a tight game in the end. It didn't look like it was going to be, but it turned out to be. Is somebody's going to have to man up to this guy with free kicks? I mean, seriously, because he had a really great opportunity in the first half from 20 yards out, and Portugal arguably have one of the best free kick takers currently in Bruno Fernandes, right? Okay, he might be a little bit off form in his general play at Man United, but we know from set pieces he's been giving a masterclass in the last 12 months. But every time in the main when they see Ronaldo taking a free kick, we know the story. It hits the wall, generally it goes over. And yet, once again, we saw the guy who's the captain saying, it's my ball, nobody else gets involved. And I think, you know, for Portugal's perspective, they and Ronaldo himself have to be bigger than this, because there are going to be games where it's going to be tight, like this one, and it might come down to a set piece, free kick, corner kick, penalty kick, whatever. And there's no doubt for me that nobody in that Portuguese team has the stomach to say to him, listen, of all your great facets at the moment, free kicks is not the best of them. And we have somebody that can take better set pieces. And maybe if they do that and had done that, might have been a different outcome.
But Craig, not only set pieces, there wasn't really much for Ronaldo fans to get excited about today.
No, and it's pretty much everybody else that gets hauled off. You know, Bernardo Silva, Diego Jota. You know, whenever a change has been made and João Felix come on, it was never going to be Ronaldo. And maybe that's just Fernando Santos doesn't want to upset the apple cart, doesn't want to upset his leader, a little bit worried about the reaction, what the press might say, what he might say. But ultimately, when he's on the periphery of a game and it's a World Cup qualifier, then as a manager, you might have to make a decision. But the decision in today's game was that Ronaldo remained on the field, even though he never looked likely, apart from, I mean, he had that one at the end, which was like, you know, right at the death. There was one chance that came his way in the second half from a great cross, but he was half a yard offside, the flag went up. But yeah, he was on the periphery. The first half was been directed by Jota's run, by Bernardo Silva, and really he found it difficult, Ronaldo, to get into his stride and get into the game. But we know he's going to play, and we know he's unlikely to be taken off.
Go on, Jan.
No, I'm just thinking of the point that Stevie made there, and I think it's quite interesting because this is the tournament who likes to brand themselves as the biggest tournament in the world. I mean, I would say that is Champions League, because the best players in the world are in Champions League, and not always the best players are at the World Cup. But I think this also go down to politics, because this is the FIFA kind of way to do it. You got like 204 nations or something, every nation one vote. And this is like a compromise saying that you don't have to spend money on this. And I think they devaluate then the tournament in itself. And I think that is no excuse for what we saw today. Because as Craig said, Portugal could be one of the outsiders coming into the World Cup. And Serbia, don't underestimate Serbia. Some good players there. And you saw that also among the goal scorers today with Mitrovic and Kostic, who is now having a great time at Eintracht Frankfurt.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.